welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about attachment, just because I feel like not many people actually know what attachment is. I feel like people are lost and they keep getting it mixed up with something else, and then like continuously preaching about something they don't know about. So I'm here to teach you what it's about. All right, cool. So attachment is literally to be attached to someone. It's a likeness or fondness for someone. It's to have sympathy and affection for someone. That's basically what attachment means. It can also be seen as a bond. That's like a synonym for it. And a bond is literally being united to someone or something because of a feeling or a force. So maybe a magical force is making you be united. Cool. So basically that's what attachment is, and that's what a bond is. Now that we know that part, great. Now let's talk about attachment styles. We got 4 kinds of attachment styles. Well, the basic attachment styles, there's 4, but I mean, if you really want to get into it, there's probably like 8. I mean, yeah, because you can break them all down into sections. Ignore this, guys. I literally cut myself before I started recording, but I said nothing's gonna stop me from giving you content. Not this. But anywho, so the first attachment, which is the best attachment, this is the attachment that everybody wants. Let's say this attachment is the nerdy popular girl who has everything. I said nerdy because that means she's smart as well. She gets along with the nerds and she gets along with the popular kids. She's Meg the Stallion. Okay, cool. Secure attachment, let's say she's Meg the Stallion. Cool. So Meg the Stallion or secure attachment has a positive view of themselves and has a positive view of everyone. So they get along with everyone. They are confident, they're resilient, and they're non-reactive. What that means is that if something is to go left, so like let's say there's an argument, obviously non-reactive obviously means they will not react. They'll be less confrontational, quite good with those kind of things. They are reciprocal, so that means they can reciprocate energy. They're very good with depending on people, but they can also be very independent. They don't like, they're good with bouncing off of you. So if you need them, they're there for you. If they need you, you'll be there for them. That kind of attachment is what secure attachment is. It's literally the perfect kind of attachment. It's the best one. Normally people who have secure attachment don't have mental health problems, or they don't have many like life issues, or if they do, they've gotten to the point where they're able to have some sort of mindfulness and they've taught themselves how to be secure in their attachment. And that's basically what we all want to have eventually. Cool, we got number 2. Anxiously preoccupied. Now, they have a negative view of themselves, but a positive view of everybody else. Okay, obviously you've seen the word anxious, which would indicate they've got some sort of anxiety. What can I say about these people? They have emotional hunger. And what I mean by emotional hunger is that they have abandonment issues. They have this longing for wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to be friends, or like they have a deep longing for wanting to be cared for. This is normally because they've had a lack of nurture in their lives. So it could be because of this. They're lovely people, don't get me wrong, but they can be quite clingy, and they do have separation anxiety sometimes. So like leaving them is not a thing you want to do. They have this thing called a fantasy bond. I know it sounds like it's called like fantasy fairy. Ooh, no, it's not that. It's basically a thing where they basically partner up, or like they become like, they have a girlfriend or boyfriend. They become girlfriend or boyfriend with someone who's vulnerable, meaning that they just want to save that person, and they know that this person won't leave them if they save them. You get that mentality. It's like they're indebted to you kind of thing. Or they get with someone who they know can save them, and then they think to themselves, well, if you can save me, you never gonna leave my ass because we're indebted to each other now. This is toxic, obviously, and it's not very helpful. But sometimes you see people saying like, oh, I wouldn't date someone who was an 8 out of 10, or I wouldn't date like a guy who was extremely handsome. Why? Because they'll just leave me. So I date people who are less good looking and less attractive because I know they'll never leave me because I'm the creme de la creme for them. Those kind of people, they have like an anxious, preoccupied type of attachment, because it's like they never want anyone to leave them. So what they do is they either settle for less, or they go for extremely broken people and try to fix them. which is not the best kind of attachment. I can't lie to you, it's not too good, but you can work on it and you can get to a secure attachment. Okay, on to number 3. We have a dismissive avoidant. This attachment is a cute little attachment. It's not too bad, but it's not too good. It's they view themselves very positively, but they view everybody else quite negatively. They're very self-reliant. Like they're the kind of people who say, I don't need nobody. I don't need none of y'all. I got this. Like, you know, someone who's always like, I don't need you guys. I don't need you. Like, I've got this by myself. I kind of feel like I'm talking about myself here. They isolate when they have problems, and they're very emotionally distant. They like to deal with everything and anything by themselves. Like, even if you can fix it for them, they're gonna do it by themselves, because they're very independent, and because they have such a negative view of everyone, they don't trust anyone to fix anything for them. And this is probably just because of trauma, like literally because of trauma. And most of these things do stem from childhood. So like sometimes how your childhood was can really impact how you feel later on. Sometimes not just like how you were raised by your parents, because you could like, for people like me, for instance, I had a secure attachment when I was a child. Like, my parents were great, they were lovely, whatever. Obviously some things weren't lovely, but that's just life. Then I got to like the teen years, and that's when my attachment did like, it literally just went like it broke. Which is not to do with like my parents, it's to do with high school PTSD because of high school. But yeah, so that's when my attachment changed. But I guess, yeah, you could have a perfect childhood and still be able to have dismissive avoidant attachment. Cool. Now the last attachment, I wouldn't say it's the worst attachment. I don't want to say it's the worst attachment. I don't want to say that. But if you're around them and if you want to be with them, think that through. Maybe you should just be by yourself. And this is fearful avoidant. They have a negative view of themselves, and they have a negative view of everyone. These people can be very abusive. Not borderline abusive. They're very manipulative, and they are the kings and queens of gaslighting. So if you don't know what gaslighting, let me just show you an example. Oh, today I'm having a really bad day. Oh, well, get over it. Or, oh, what's a better example? Or, oh, it's okay, people have it worse. That's that kind of thing. Like, they're very like that. God forbid I ever end up with someone who's a gaslighter. I can't stand it when people gaslight me. Ugh, you're too sensitive. You know, nobody asks you. Like, what's your problem? Anywho, they're very unpredictable, so you never know what version of them you're gonna get. You don't know if they're gonna be erratic, spontaneous, if they're gonna be angry, they're gonna be sad or happy. You don't know what to expect with them. This is the reason why I say I couldn't be with someone who's like this. I mean, I was in a talking stage with someone like this, and let me tell you, girl, he was a full-blown maniac. Very manipulative, and I just wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. No. Okay, but the last thing about them is they have like an internal conflict. Like, how do I put this? They want closeness, they love closeness, but they avoid closeness. So this can really be with anybody, to be fair. Like, you want that person, you want to be with them, you want the closeness, you want the intimacy, but when it comes, you're like, nah, I'm good, love and joy. But like with them, it's like with many things, it's like, maybe let's say they ask for a grape and you bring them a grape, and all of a sudden they're angry that you brought them the grape. But wait, I didn't even finish with my celeb thing. So Meg Thee Stallion is secure. What would I say is anxious, preoccupied? Maybe one of my rock bands. Let's say The Neighborhood is that. Dismissive, avoidant. let's say Beyonce, because she don't need nobody. She doesn't need anyone. She could do all of that by herself. And let's say for a fearful avoidant, let's say xxxx. Yeah, because I mean, I love him to bits, but he had a really bad track record. So just to follow, that's what that is. Okay, so I'm finished talking about attachment. I'm finished talking about attachment, sorry. And now I want to talk a little bit about bondage, because people like to throw this word around so often and it's so annoying. I hate it. 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 How can I be talking to someone, yeah, and I'm just like basically saying I wasn't really interested in them because on your taste, like, to translate, that they're not my taste. I'm not into them. Like, that's not what I like. Cool. Like, you're not what I want. And they're like, oh, because you're in bondage with your ex. Use is wrong. Like, it's not, like, I just hate when people say things like that. They say like, oh, you're in bondage with, like, and then they'll mention someone who's really, really close to you, and you think to yourself, like, maybe you're just ugly. Or maybe you just manipulative. Or maybe you just gaslight. That's why I don't like you. Yeah, I even need to give you guys a story time. I need to give you gist. You never believe a date I went on with the most narcissistic, but we'll get there. I'll tell you guys about that later. Anywho, so basically what I wanted to say is that, like, bondage is literally slavery. How are you gonna tell someone you're in bondage with someone? You're not a slave to them. You're not a slave. Like, what? And I always read things like, oh, you're in some sort of spiritual bondage, or this, that, that, and this, that, that. And I'm like, is bondage really the right word? No, maybe spiritual attachment, but bondage. Like, to say someone's in bondage with someone is like saying you do anything and everything for them. Like, as I said, you're a slave to them. It's a bit like, well, what? And by the way, with the whole ex thing, this person told me that, like, maybe a couple of weeks after my breakup. So that's why they said that. Like, as a funny little, like, like, you know, it wasn't really funny. It was really dumb. I was thinking, well, yeah, what? But yeah, so I think we just let that slide. Now that I've taught you guys what attachment is, just be using these styles, and you be using these words. Or if you don't want to attach someone, say, I don't want to be in an attachment with you. I don't want an attachment with you. That's what attachment is. It's not bondage. Like, every time I hear this one, I'm like, you guys are cracking with my cranium. Like, what do you mean? Because you want to see real bondage. You want to see real bondage? It's slavery. Literally. Look up the word bondage and you'll see it literally means what? Like an act of being a slave. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, guys, I hope you learned a lot about attachment today. I'm going to be trying to give you as much content as possible. But obviously, like, uni's coming up, so I'm going to have to be focusing on that because it is my last year. So yeah, but I'm probably going to, like, pre-record a lot. But anyways, it's your girl, Vanessa-May. Peace. Can you see the cut? Peace and love to you all. Bye. Oh, my orange juice. Oh.